It's a very warm welcome indeed to everybody here today. Sadly, the Prime Minister, who was going to be with us until yesterday, is in Brussels doing important work. But it's a joy to have the Deputy Prime Minister here, the Leader of the Opposition, members of the House of Commons, the House of Lords, ambassadors and High Commissioners, officers and staff of the Palace of Westminster, church leaders from across the UK. It's a real joy to have you here. And thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, both for your words, but also for yet again allowing us to use this amazing historic space for this breakfast. We're very grateful to you, the Lord Speaker, and the Lord Great Chamberlain for allowing us to be here again. I need to run through a few other thank yous because this event takes a lot of people to put it together. So thank you to Black Rod and the Sergeant at Arms and their teams, to the Christians in Parliament, all-party parliamentary group, which organises this breakfast, to our main sponsor, the Bible Society, and all the sponsors in your programmes, who not only help with the costs, but put on the wonderful seminars at the end, to the Commons banqueting team for the wonderful breakfast and all the parliamentary departments, and to the marvellous Eve Burt and her fabulous team of volunteers who are around making sure it's all running smoothly. Now, this has become an established event in the annual parliamentary calendar, and it's wonderful that so many churches have come with their members of Parliament. Thank you for coming, especially those who've come great distances, to support members of both houses. This event is an expression of the church wanting to pray for and support all those engaged in government and politics. But it's also a great chance for church leaders and parliamentarians to meet and eat and talk together in a historic place, because you share so much. As people who live in and care for your local communities, you care for the flourishing of the places in which you have grown or been planted, and it's a joy to hear the buzz of conversation over breakfast. It's a particular joy for me to chair the breakfast because it brings together church and politics, and as a Labour peer and an Anglican priest, I have a foot in both camps. And our theme this year of building unity in a world of difference really matters. I've been around party politics all my adult life, and I've never known times as volatile or the country as divided as now. But I am conscious that previous generations have seen much worse. And our history, indeed these walls, bear witness to the fallout from past divisions. In January 1649, King Charles I was tried in this very hall for treason and subsequently executed. Now, without reopening very old wounds, it does mean this is perhaps a very good place to reflect on what happens if we fail to heal divisions and learn to walk together. I once heard a Church of England priest reflect on a conversation he'd had with an American bishop in which they discussed their respective civil wars, and they decided what the Americans learned from their civil war was that it's important to be right and it's important to win. And then what we'd learned from ours was that it was very dangerous to fall out about religion. And the effect of that, of course, was having the broad church that is the Church of England. But whatever your take on history, there are deep issues to be wrestled with about principle, integrity on one hand, and about peace, community, and relationship on the other. Differences matter, but every generation must find its own way to navigate them with integrity and respect. The members of Christians in Parliament are united by our faith, but we disagree on pretty much everything else. And yet many of us pray regularly with people from other parties. I'm part of a weekly group that discusses issues around faith and spirituality. I pray regularly with a Conservative and a Lib Dem peer. And that's been really interesting because praying with people whose Christian faith has led them to very different political conclusions from mine is a really useful corrective. Now, of course, I pray often that God will lead them to see things the way he and I see them. But in the meantime, it's really helpful because it makes me think every now and again, it's just possible, I may on occasion not be right. So friends, that is the context for our reflection this morning. I'm so much looking forward to hearing what Bishop Sarah has to say to us. But before she comes up to speak, we're going to sing, and then members of both houses will lead us in prayer and on the reflection of the Bible. You're very welcome.